Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Guys, we got to take a look today at the most surprising teams going into this NHL season. We're going to be doing two videos on this today. One is going to be on the most surprising, teams that are doing well, and we're also going to do the most surprising teams that are disappointing. And today we're going to be negative. We're going to take a look at the teams that are disappointing the most so far to start this NHL season. So we're going to go over that. Now, spoiler alert, the Blackhawks jersey is not by accident, and we'll be going over that as the first one. The Chicago Blackhawks start the season 0-4-1. Now, I know we were expecting the Blackhawks to maybe overachieve and even make the playoffs this year. But was it realistic? I mean, it kind of was, because you had Seth Jones, Caleb Jones, right? You're going to have Jonathan Toews back, your captain, Kirby Dach back, hopefully for a full season. So, what gives? Why are the Blackhawks still where they were last season? They bring in, obviously, the reigning Vezina winner in Marc-Andre Fleury. So why is this team so bad right now? What is happening? So there's a lot. And a lot of people will point the finger right to Jeremy Colliton as the first thing. And I don't think that's completely off. I think there is something to be said that Jeremy Colliton, ever since he came in Chicago, it's been a rough road for him. I mean, he's taking over Joel Quenneville, a Hall of Fame coach that won multiple cups in Chicago. And here's the new kid on the block, right? He was a Bridgeport Sound Tigers player for a couple years, an AHL guy, kind of grinding it out, becomes a coach, and now he's the Blackhawks head coach, just like that. The other thing, so Jeremy Colliton. Stan Bowman has to take some blame for this as well. Did he put the right mix of guys that work under Jeremy Colliton's system? And that's his part, but you also have to look at, is Colliton a guy that's going to get the most out of his players? They go hand in hand pretty much. And then the other thing we have to remember is, what's that one saying we always talk about, right? It's easier to tear everything down. It's a lot harder when you have to build it up, because it's not guaranteed that it will ever build back up. You can guarantee by trading your top players that you will get worse and you will tank and you will get high draft picks, but there's no guarantee that with those draft picks they turn out to be anything or you get back to that success as a team. I think the Blackhawks are learning that the hard way right now, that it's not necessarily that easy to just rebuild and get things going again. It doesn't work that way. And this is a Blackhawks team that demands success. They demand that they have a good hockey team there, because this is all they've known. A lot of the younger fans, all they've known is a Blackhawks team that is going to the Stanley Cup final every other year. That's not necessarily realistic, but this is a team that 0-4-1, they're one of two teams left that has not won a game yet this season, the Coyotes being the other team. But nobody's shocked that the Coyotes are 0-4-1, because they tore everything apart this summer, right? We just talked about how hard it is to build it back up. So the Blackhawks, we'll see what happens, but there is some genuine concern in Chicago. Jeremy Colliton's seat has to be hot, and by the end of the season, if things don't turn around just a little bit, you have to wonder if Stan Bowman could be next on the docket this offseason if the Blackhawks don't turn things around a little bit. Now, this one's interesting. I'm not going to go over the Coyotes or the Predators or even the Habs for that matter, because I think a lot of people were not that surprised that the Habs started out so slow, and the Nashville Predators. But you know who's right ahead of Nashville and Montreal in the standings and is right now considered the fifth worst team according to the standings in the NHL? That is the Vegas Golden Knights. Probably wouldn't have believed me if I told you that after opening night. But the Vegas Golden Knights, since opening night, now they've gone almost 2 full weeks without winning a game and find themselves 1-3 on a 3-game losing streak. Yeah, the same Vegas Golden Knights team that is supposed to win the Pacific Division and potentially go on a strong playoff run this year is 1-3 to start. Now, again, this is one of the teams that has played only 4 games. They could be shoot up 10 spots, in their next game. But as of right now, Vegas is 1-3 on the season, and a team that right now, if you're looking, isn't where they want to be. I think most people would agree with me on that. I don't think there's much debate on that. So for Vegas, I know they've had some injury issues, but you're hoping that some of these younger guys could step up, and we haven't seen that from Nolan Patrick, from guys like Brett Howden, Peyton Krebs. We're not seeing those guys step up to the plate with guys like Pacioretty, Stone out of the lineup, Alex Tuck. So with those guys out, we haven't seen guys come in to replace their production, and that's why the Golden Knights went out and made these moves this summer, because they knew that this could be a problem. And the guys they brought in, that Kelly McCrimmon brought in, aren't necessarily working the way that maybe they had hoped. And we're kind of seeing that right now. Another team, this is kind of crazy. We're talking about a little bizarre world here. The Colorado Avalanche are 2-3 to start their season, so they've only won 2 of their first 5 games. They, kind of like the Golden Knights, had won their opening night game against the Blackhawks, who we pronounce aren't that good, and then they lost 3 straight, and just happened to get a win tonight, or the other night, against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So the Avalanche are not starting off that great. So you talk about 3 teams that in a lot of people's preseason power rankings, maybe including mine, were a top 16 team making the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. And right now, they are very, very much underperforming. And we're going to talk about one fourth team here, and that's the Toronto Maple Leafs, who find themselves now 2-3-1 to start their season, coming off back-to-back losses at home against the San Jose Sharks, a 5-3 thumping with Michael Hutchinson in, and a loss in Pittsburgh where their starter, Jack Campbell, was ran out of the building in the Steel City in Pittsburgh, losing that one 7-1, giving up a touchdown. No, they weren't playing at Heinz Field. This was an NHL game. The Leafs lost 7-1. So this is a situation in Toronto where, kind of like Montreal, where everything is under a microscope, this game will definitely be under the microscope in Toronto. Jack Campbell, where's the goaltending? Why isn't this team scoring more than 1 goal in a game? What's going on with the scoring? What's up with the defense, the goaltending? Will Peter Mrazek come back? When's Mrazek going to come back? Why does John Tavares have only 1 goal on the season? Why doesn't Mitch Marner have any goals on the season? It's the same story once again for the Leafs. And as an Islander fan, I could sit here and watch Tavares basically age by the minute and somewhat enjoy that. But honestly, it's kind of tiring. And this is a Leafs team that, it's almost like, what is it going to take for this team to, wake up? Is it going to take a trade of Mitch Marner or Nylander or something to get them going? Because this is really concerning. And you have Morgan Riley on the final year of his contract. You've got a lot of things that you're kind of expecting this team to, at the very least, make the playoffs. They aren't making the playoffs playing the way they're playing right now. There's just not enough urgency. And the same things we've talked about for the Leafs team, it seems like forever now. We're seeing it again. And you used to be able to at least say, well, at least they're a good regular season team. You can't even say that right now, as they are currently 21st in the NHL standings. What is going on in Toronto? So today, recap, we talked about the Blackhawks' early season struggles, the Golden Knights, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Those 4 teams being in the bottom 15 of the NHL standings, and at this rate would be out of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Which of these 4 teams will eventually go and make the Stanley Cup playoffs? And if you could pick one of these teams, which of these 4 teams could still win their division respectively? Let me know your thoughts down below. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.